So it's Tuesday morning, 10 weeks out from the Arnold Sports Festival Australia Men's Physique Pro Show. Actually 9 weeks and 4 days out. I'm about to train some biceps and calves this morning. That's my usual Tuesday morning workout. And you guys are coming along for a ride in this workout. Let's make up an intro workout. Supremos. 1 scoop of Creation Cluster Pure in here. All right, let's get warmed up. Let's get into this workout. So biceps and calves, it's a pretty unique split. Not many people train biceps and calves together. The reason why I'm doing this, guys, is because I do this quite frequently. I'll team up when I'm training 2 muscle groups in a particular workout. I'll team up one of my more prominent, more dominant, stronger muscle groups with one of my weaker muscle groups. So calves, obviously, probably my most dominant muscle group, with biceps, which have come up a lot over the years, but they're still a little bit out of proportion, especially to my triceps, especially to my shoulders. So I still consider them a little bit of a weaker muscle group. So that's where the biceps and calves split comes from. Because biceps are the weaker of the two, I'll train them first and they get more stimulation. So this particular workout, I'm gonna hit 6 exercises that you guys are gonna see each and every one of. The first 4 are gonna be biceps exercises. The last 2 are gonna be calves exercises. We're gonna start this workout off with standing, alternating dumbbell biceps curls over at the dumbbell rack. Let's go. So for this first exercise, the standing alternating dumbbell biceps curls, one of my favorite workout techniques, TMJ extender hypertrophy, of course. So I'm gonna hit 5 working sets, working up in weight, down in reps. I'm gonna start with my first set, start around 15, up to 17, up to 20, up to 22.5. And then the final working set will be the 25 kilo dumbbells. The first, I'm trying to fail above 12 reps, so 12 to 15 reps. On the second set, I'm trying to fail around 10 to 12. The third set, around that 10 mark. The fourth set, taking it to failure, as many reps as I can get, which is usually 8 to 10. Rest, pause for 5 to 10 seconds, and then go to failure again, as many reps as possible. And then the 5th and final is a double drop set. So take the 25s to failure, drop it, probably drop back to maybe the 17.5, so about 30% drop. Take it to failure, drop it back again to the 12.5s. Just trying to hit as many reps as I possibly can for those 5 working sets. All right, so when you hit failure, a couple of things are gonna happen. The first thing is you're gonna start cheating to complete the rep. That's when you know you're focusing on moving the weight from point A to point B. As an aesthetic-based athlete trying to build a physique that looks a certain way, that's not necessarily beneficial. What you really want to do when you hit failure, and what you guys will see me do, is actually start shortening the reps. So as my bicep fails, a full curl, I can come all the way up. As it starts to fail, I might only get half a rep, quarter of a rep. That's all that the bicep's going to give me, because it's not going to contract a full way. That's how you should be acting when you reach failure. That's how you should perform your reps when you reach failure, if you're trying to keep the tension in a particular muscle that you're trying to change the shape of. So a couple of unique tips and tricks I like to use for this particular movement. Keeping in mind that we're trying to hit the stretch position of flexion, which means your bicep has to stay behind your torso. So a big mistake I see a lot of people doing when they're hitting any type of incline curling movement is their elbow starts to creep up. The front delt comes in, the elbow starts to creep up and head towards the torso. So what I like to do is I like to think of there being an imaginary rod that runs from the ceiling down into the floor, imaginary rod or pole. It goes through my shoulder and through my elbow. So my shoulder and my elbow are linearly fixed from top to bottom, and then the bicep curls with the elbow in that position. So my curls on any incline curling movement are gonna look like this. Elbow stays back, shoulder stays out of the movement as much as possible, biceps curls. If your incline curls start looking like this, that's a complete front delt movement. That's front delt, front delt, front delt. Your bicep doesn't engage until your elbow starts curling at that point. So you're really losing the stretch position of flexion focus of doing this particular movement if your elbow's coming up and you're using your front delt to get a bit of momentum. So remember, rod from the ceiling to the floor goes through your shoulder, through your elbow, elbow's pinned back, and the bicep does all of the work. The second thing I like to do is I like to do these 5-a-side. So I'll do 5 reps on my right hand side, 5 on the left, back to the right for 5, back to the left for 5, as many lots of mini sets of 5 reps per side that I can do. The reason why I like to do that is because it allows my brain to refocus on that rod. It allows me, when I come back around to the right hand side, get that rod in place, keep the elbow back and really focus on the bicep. The second reason is when this arm's not working, so it's done its 5 reps, I'm onto the left hand side, this arm is in constant tension the whole time in a stretch position of flexion focus. So while this arm's working over here, this is the resting position for this arm. The elbow's back, the shoulder's back, the biceps under tension in the stretch position of flexion focus. So it really allows me to make the most of this particular exercise for this particular position of flexion focus. So 3 working sets with this exercise to absolute failure. So I'll do those 5 reps per side, 5 on the left, 5 on the right, 5 on the left, 5 on the right, and keep doing little sets of 5 until I can't get a full set of 5. So I might go 5, 5, 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3, and then I just can't even lift the weight. That's a working set. That's failure. Repeat that for 3 times. Work up in weight, down in reps. And just a little bit of reference for you guys. So with that first exercise, the heaviest I went was 25 kilos with the standing alternating dumbbell curls. If done correctly, you don't need a lot of weight with these incline dumbbell curls. So for reference, 25s on the first exercise, the heaviest I got was 12.5, so half the weight with these incline dumbbell curls. On to exercise number 3, let's go. So continuing with the theme of positions of flexion, exercise number 3, I'm going to hit a contracted position of flexion movement. So the biceps exerting its maximum force when it's in the contracted position. Usually I would do like a preacher curl, maybe a spider curl, but to mix it up, I'm going to show you guys a high cable biceps curl. In particular, because I see a lot of people doing this movement. It's a pretty cool movement, especially if you look at yourself in the mirror, it looks like you're hitting a front double bicep, but a lot of people don't do it correctly. So we're gonna get straight into it. Let's go. So 2 tips to ensure you guys are getting the most out of this exercise. The first one has to do with your elbow position. The second one has to do with what you're focusing on as your bicep is contracting. So the first tip with elbow position, a lot of people when they do this exercise, they're doing the high cable curls, but their elbows are actually below their shoulders, which means your front delts are gonna come in, your chest is gonna come in, you're gonna start, instead of doing high bicep curls, you're gonna end up doing this sort of shit. Your elbows are moving, they're not in a fixed position, the tension is all over the place, not in the biceps, which is where you want it. So the first tip is to keep your elbow in line with your shoulder as you're grabbing the handle, and then to keep your elbow, if you can, at least in line with your shoulder, ideally above your shoulder. So as I perform a rep, you'll see my elbows are nice and high, and then I'm curling, and the elbows come up above the shoulder. They're not down, the chest is not coming in, the delts are not coming in, the elbows are up and high, and the biceps doing all the work. The second tip is as you're contracting, think about hitting a front double biceps pose, but think about hitting it behind your head. So you're actually pulling your elbows back behind your torso rather than in front of your torso. So I see a lot of people do this exercise like this. They get the elbow thing right, the elbows are nice and high, they hit the bicep, and then what happens? As they start to fail, the elbows come in front of the torso like this. I want you to hit that front double biceps nice and high behind your head. So it's almost like your hands actually passing backwards behind your head. That's gonna keep your elbows nice and high. It's gonna keep the tension in the biceps. And guys, don't forget, this is contracted position of flexion. So you gotta squeeze on each and every rep. On to the fourth and final exercise for biceps. So positions of flexion. We've hit the mid-range, we've hit the stretch, we've hit the contracted. The last little piece of the puzzle that I like to incorporate into all my biceps workouts is a little bit of forearm movement, a little bit of brachialis movement. Today, we're gonna hit hammer dumbbell curls. Biceps are hammered, brachialis is hammered, forearms are hammered. That's it for biceps. Now it's on to calves. So the muscle group I get asked most about, no surprises, is calves. My most dominant, my strongest muscle group. Whenever you put in a calf workout together, guys, there's a few different ways that calves can contract. The first one is knees in a locked position, hips in an open position, knees in a locked position, hips in a bent position, like a donkey calf raise or a leg press calf raise, knees in a bent position, hips in an open position, knees in a bent position, hips in a closed position. So those are the 2 points that you can change the angles on. Your knees, your hips are going to affect different parts of your calf. If you have weak calves, you should be putting together an entire calf workout at least once per week that hits all 4 variations. My calves are very strong, so I tend to hit calves once a week, and I'll usually pick 2 of those 4. So for today's workout, I'm gonna do knees locked, hips open. That's gonna be a standing machine calf raise. And then I'm gonna hit knees locked, hips closed, which is gonna be a leg press calf raise. So let's get straight into exercise number 1, standing calf raise. So the 3 reasons why most people have trouble growing their calves, the first one is you're just not training them with enough volume. That's what I'm saying, guys. You have to hit the knees locked, the knees bent, the hips locked, the hips open. If you have trouble with your calves, you should have a calf day. One workout, a minimum 1 workout per week where you just go into the gym and you just train calves and you hit all of those variations with knees open, knees closed, hips open, hips closed, and slam your calves with enough volume. The second reason is because most people don't have the right range of motion when they're training calves. You need to go all the way down for a stretch, all the way up for a squeeze on each and every rep. Not the first couple, not the first 5, not the first 10 of a particular working set. Every fucking rep of a working set needs to be full range of motion. The third and final reason is rep tempo. A lot of people bounce with their calves. They bring their Achilles in. You need to go down, pause in a stretch position, powerful contraction, explosive, aggressive contraction, squeeze at the top of each and every rep, and then a nice, slow, controlled, eccentric, down back to the bottom, pause, contract, squeeze, control, pause, contract, squeeze, control. That's what you guys are gonna see as I train calves. I like to do 5 working sets, no surprises here, TMJ extended hypertrophy on each and every one of my calf exercises. Standing calf raises, let's go. All right, so that's 5 working sets, TMJ extender hypertrophy on the standing calf raise. Now I'm gonna move to a knee locked, hip bent position. So the 2 ways you can do this particular movement is with a donkey calf raise, obviously, where your knees are locked and you're bent over and the weight is back here and you calf raise. We don't have one at the hip center, but we do have a leg press, which is exactly the same movement, just the resistance is in reverse. Rather than the resistance being on your hips, it's at your calves. Last working set for today's biceps and calves workout. On the leg press calf raise, double drop set about to go down. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Let's go. Guys, that's a wrap for today's biceps and calves workout. 9 weeks and 4 days out from the Arnold Sports Festival Men's Physique Pro Show, the very first Men's Physique Pro Show. I hope you guys enjoyed coming along for the ride, seeing some tips and tricks on how I train biceps, how I train calves, how my workouts are put together, how I'm thinking about them and structuring them, picking specific exercises to achieve specific purposes, TMJ extended hypertrophy, so on and so forth. Give this one a shot on your next, actually, you know what? Try a biceps and calf day and give this entire workout a shot. It's gonna be unique. It's gonna be something you haven't tried before. Guys, as always, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to turn your post notifications on your mobile, your cell phone, and your desktop PC so you don't miss a beat on the MassiveJoes YouTube channel of everything, including the Pro Prep. Until next time, we'll catch you guys next week. Stay massive.
Thank you for tuning into this video. We hope you enjoyed watching. Don't forget to check out our latest upload and our recommended video, and be sure to subscribe to the MassiveJoes YouTube channel to stay up to date with all of our latest uploads.